How long do you want to have unforgiveness? How long do you want to hold on to those negative emotions? Are there truly benefits to staying offended, or is it costing you more than you realize? What if there was a better way to move forward? Let's understand your situation better by looking at a true story of a young woman who lost her leg in a car accident that wasn't her fault. Like your own personal battles with hurt and offense, she was a victim who suffered an unimaginable injustice. Think of the pain and the anger most of us would feel with such a terrible loss. For many years after the accident, she struggled with no sleep as she would wake in the middle of the night screaming from excruciating phantom pain in the knee and the ankle of the leg that no longer existed. She couldn't massage her missing leg or even itch it because there was no leg there, only pain and sleepless nights. Worse than that, her life became consumed with anger toward the man who caused the accident, which quickly moved into a why me rage against God that filled every fiber of her being. It didn't take long before her ideas about God were shattered. First she asked, "What did I do to deserve this?" But soon decided it was God's fault. After all, if God was all-powerful and loving, why didn't he simply prevent the accident? Given these complex questions with inadequate answers, she decided to throw God out the window, no different than when she stopped believing in Santa Claus as a kid. A couple of years later, her lawsuit against the man and his car insurance company ended with her winning $1 million plus judgment against him. Now she had money, but in her mind, the worst part was that he never apologized to her. Even with the help of coaches and counseling, she could not shake the fury and the scowl that had burned into her face. As time went on, this woman worked hard, harder than she ever could imagine, as she threw herself into her work. Anything to avoid the pain of being home alone. She figured no one would want to marry or have a relationship with a one-legged woman. Her isolation didn't make her depressed, nor did it lead to alcohol or drugs, but in her case, anger became her go-to guise as the hardness on her face continued to grow. Eventually, she learned how to run with her artificial leg. She successfully ran several marathons and admits that the driving force was an "I'll show you" resentment. Everywhere she went, the memory of that man who hit her was right there with her. When she crossed the finish lines, her anger toward him crossed with her. Even though she had done something great, she felt no joy, had no victory dance, and no one to celebrate with. Instead, she continued on with her isolation and went home night after night, all alone, accompanied only by bitterness. On the 15th anniversary of the car accident, she was so consumed with unforgiveness that she forced herself to call the man who hit her so she could demand an apology. Surprisingly, the man agreed to meet with her, so she prepared her speech and was ready to literally tear him apart, tear off his leg for what he did to her when they met. To her total surprise, she discovered the man had suffered tremendously since the accident. He too couldn't sleep, was racked with guilt, got divorced, lost his job, and suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder since the accident. Just like her inability to forgive God or him, his inability to choose to forgive himself had cost him everything. Suddenly, the woman said she was able to take her eyes off her own pain and look at the pain of her offender. Because of this, she says she is now finally able to forgive and finally feels free. Today, she tells her story to anyone who will listen, hoping to help them avoid the same terrible pain that she suffered for so many years. But it's no surprise when she tells her story how everyone can still see the hardness that became embedded on her face. What an enormous cost to both the man and woman. How could anyone possibly put a price tag on the cost of this unforgiveness? The truth is, we rarely add up all the cost of unforgiveness. Instead, we hear Satan as he screams, warning us as loudly as he can that forgiveness will cost us. He continues to say, know your rights, stick to your guns, and you deserve to be mad. Then Satan whispers that giving up these things will cost us dearly. Isn't this what happened to the woman who lost her leg? But it's interesting to see how unforgiveness cost her an enormous amount, perhaps more than anyone could ever know, for 15 years. There is no doubt that unforgiveness is a big reason for so many divorces, broken relationships, and so much anger in the world. Unforgiveness is indeed expensive, especially when we are the ones who have to pay the price. As we stand at this crossroads, we are faced with two opposing paths to choose from. On one hand, we can follow the alluring call of Satan's know your rights mantra, allow ourselves to be offended, and let the cancer of unforgiveness seep into our minds and our relationships at the cost of our own happiness. On the other hand, we can choose to take charge of our lives, confront this cancer, and discover the true freedom that forgiveness brings. Remember, it's natural to feel overwhelmed by the thought of forgiving someone who has wronged you. But don't be fooled by lies, taunting and telling you that the cancer of unforgiveness is somehow the easy path. The truth is that unforgiveness cancer will steal our joy, kill our relationships, and destroy us in the process. We need to get smart, fight back, and win this battle because God knows with a little bit of help, we can do just that. So right now, before you close this video out, make a decision to watch one of our next 2 recommended videos, or visit curethecancer.org. We'll see you there.